You got the touch. You got. Hey! What are you doing in here? It's time for Sean Likes Spaceships. Get your drink and let's go.
Welcome to the YouTube channel that's invisible to men under 25 and women everywhere, Sean Likes Spaceships. I'm Sean, and I like spaceships. This week is an audience favorite episode, and I'll be talking about V, the miniseries. Now, depending on where you look, either 33% or 40% of all American homes tuned into V when it first aired. To give you an example of how big that is, 39% of American TVs tuned into the last Super Bowl. I hadn't watched V since it first aired, and I remembered it being the greatest thing that had ever been put on television. It was exciting, it was scary, and I didn't understand any of the subtext to the show, but I was a dumb kid. And I don't mean that I was a child, therefore I was stupid. I was an idiot, and I happened to be young. And I can honestly say after watching it for the first time with modern eyes, I still love it. But it feels more like an episode of the A-Team with spaceships and aliens in it. I looked around social media to see what the unwashed masses thought about V and what their favorite episode might be, and consensus seems to be that the first half of the miniseries is better than the second half, and there's a reason for that, which we'll get into later. So today I'm talking about the first half of V. I know it's 2 episodes, but only watching one would be unfair to V. And if I were left to my own devices, this show would be about the short-lived cartoon The Mighty Orbots, and only The Mighty Orbots. This is about the first 2 episodes of a 4-episode miniseries. So let's go back to 1983 and rise up against the lizard people, because we're talking about V, the miniseries.
Tomorrow at 8. Man's first alien encounter seems to be a success.
Unbelievable.
But the visitors are not really our friends. Can the aliens be stopped before it's too late? V, tomorrow at 8 on Channel 17.
If anyone is watching this video without knowing the plot to V, the miniseries, what's wrong with you? But here's the elevator pitch. Aliens appear over the 50 biggest cities on Earth, and they seem friendly. They look just like us, and they want to share their technology with us in exchange for giving them safe harbor and allowing them to take some of our resources. It's a good deal, except it's all a lie. They're actually lizard people in disguise. Come to think of it, there was something I didn't trust about them from the very beginning. They want to steal all of our resources, use humans as a food, and then they plan to amscray. Pig Latin. That's right. I'm bilingual. And by the time humans figure it all out, the aliens have completely taken over. And it's up to a small band of scrappy American humans to stop these aliens from treating Earth like it's some sort of short-term rental property. The show was written and directed by Kenneth Johnson, who had a proven track record on television, having been a writer, producer, and director on shows like The $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, and The Incredible Hulk. Kenneth Johnson had originally written an adaptation of the Sinclair Lewis novel, It Can't Happen Here, which is a book I've totally read, and I don't want to talk about it here because I don't want to seem like I'm bragging. His adaptation was called Storm Warnings, and it focused on America being corrupted from within. But get this, for the first and only time ever, the evil network executives had a smart, good idea because they thought the plot was too much of a bummer, so they suggested the evil characters be changed to aliens. Why? Because Star Wars.
R2-D2, you found a cigarette. Well, I don't think smoking is grown up at all. Because it's very dangerous. Smoking does dreadful things to your lungs and is very bad for your heart. Well, I know I don't have one, but humans do, and I think we should set a good example. Well done, R2.
V pulled off an awesome ad campaign. Posters were put up in a couple of major markets, and a few days later, those same posters were then spray painted with the letter V over them, just like the TV show. It was viral marketing before terms like viral marketing existed, because it was the before times, and everything was new and young and better, where every person was upstanding and every child was adorable and well behaved.
Great lineup of stars, including our next guest. I saw him on V. I love that series V. But a lot of notoriety, of course, has come from the Beastmaster.
Mark Singer, that's Mark with a C, plays investigative cameraman / reporter Mike Donovan, fresh off his role of Beastmaster the year before. His hair is perfect, and no matter what gets thrown his way, that do is always Sears catalog model flawlessness. It's something to behold. Robert Englund also shows up in V, the miniseries, who would go on to play Freddy Krueger a year later. And you know he's playing a sympathetic alien because he's constantly smiling and helpful, even while he's being yelled at by a xenophobic African-American character played by Jason Bernard, who, if you don't recognize, tells me you were not alive in the 80s and 90s because that dude was everywhere. But the standout of the show is Jane Badler, who plays Diana. She's the perfect blend of pretty and evil, and she's the textbook definition of 80s hot. If they made a G.I. Joe movie in the 80s, Jane Badler would have been the Baroness, and I feel like we as a society have lost something because that never happened. The production of V was paused for 2 weeks after actress Dominique Dunne was murdered by her ex-boyfriend. Dominique had just played Dana Freeling in the movie Poltergeist. She was also the sister of actor Griffin Dunne. And there's videos on this streaming service that can explain the details of this tragedy far better than I could. So check them out if you want to know more about this young woman whose life was cut down far too soon. Her role was replaced by Blair Tefkin, who had the difficult task of replacing Dominique Dunne. And given the circumstances, she did great. The miniseries is about an alien invasion, but really, the subtext of V is playing off the fear plenty of Americans had in the 80s. The fear that the country would be taken over by the Soviet Union. Today, that seems ridiculous because here in the future, we know just how broken the Soviet system actually was. But we didn't know back then because we were idiots, just like everyone else who lived in the past. And the reason why V and movies like Red Dawn were so popular during this time is because it gave the audience permission to cheer for the thing they wanted most, to see something they feared being destroyed violently in a satisfying way. The same thing happens now in pop culture with zombie movies and zombie TV shows. They're also violent wish fulfillment. And there's plenty of studies and cases about this very thing that I've totally read, and I'd love to cite them to you now, but I can't because I'm shy and I don't want people to know that secretly I'm really, really smart. It's been happening forever. World War II movies, westerns, mobster movies, all violent wish fulfillment. Sure, some people might be watching V because they're thirsty for tyrannical lizard people, but really most people watched because of the violent wish fulfillment. Now that most people have stopped watching the video, I'd like to thank those who stuck around by getting to the reason why you probably clicked on this video in the first place, to watch really cool 80s practical and special effects. Now, in my unreliable narrator of a memory, I remembered V, the miniseries, falling off a cliff. And the reason for this is because the evil studio execs in charge of NBC at the time basically drove out Kenneth Johnson. You know, the creator, writer, and director of V, after the first 2 episodes of the miniseries. And what follows is V, the Final Battle, which is far more campy than the first half. And then there's V, the series, which, unless you're a completionist, you should not watch if you have any love for V, or for television in general, or for yourself. V was brought back as a series in 2009 and ran for 23 episodes. They even brought back Jane Badler as Diana for 9 episodes and Mark Singer for 1. I have not watched that show yet because I'm so busy with my work at NASA and the CIA and Major League Baseball.
V continues tomorrow after news at 10 on ITV.
After the miniseries, Kenneth Johnson would work as a writer, producer, and sometimes director on the Alien Nation TV series, as well as the subsequent Alien Nation TV movies. But honestly, none of that is nearly as impressive as the fact that he wrote and directed the movie Steel, starring your favorite pitchman Shaquille O'Neal, who lives in Atlanta, and everyone who lives here has seen him out except for me. Even my wife has met him, but not me.
It's hammer time.
During the last audience favorite review, a lot of people said that particular episode of Space 1999 that I went over scared the hell out of them when they were kids. But for me, that show was V. And while the thought of another species farming humans for food is a frightening concept to children, middle-aged me is far more frightened by the sheer amounts of white powder that were consumed while filming this miniseries. I'm not going to point anyone out, but I'm pretty sure you can come to your own conclusions after rewatching the show. Ultimately, after watching the first 2 episodes of the miniseries, I can honestly say I still love it. Does it still hold up perfectly? No, not even close. Are all the performances Emmy-worthy? Are you kidding me? Am I going to continue to ask myself leading questions like I'm Robert Evans? You bet I will, baby. But there's something about this series that I just can't shake, and I'm really glad I watched it again. If you love the same kind of nonsense that I do, then you should too. What kind of nonsense is that? Well, my name is Sean, and I like spaceships. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Sean Likes Spaceships, the audience favorites episode of V the miniseries, first 2 episodes edition. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.